Hello, lovely humans. I'm Luna Robbie, and you are listening to Sex Stories, a podcast of personal histories where we learn from each other and practice deep, non judgmental listening in order to co create a more loving world. If you want to express your love for this show, you can find ad free episodes on Patreon, get personal with me on OnlyFans, sign up to be a guest, and check out the awesome brands to support our show. Links are in the description below or visit sexstoriespodcast.com. Now, please enjoy this episode. Our guest today is a kinky, pansexual, pagan, polyamorous switch who is ethically non-monogamous and married with a lover and play partners. They are into handmade kink toys, play parties, their play partners, their lover, and their wife. A disability services worker and woodcarver with us today from Melbourne, Australia. You can hear their original episode number 146, Dominant Women Are Sexy, from December 2021. Welcome back, Hawthorn.
Hey, wow. Thank you. It's great to be here.
I'm so excited to talk to you again. We had a great conversation the first time around. And, well, let's start off by rate yourself on a sexual shame-o-meter today. 10 being high, 0 being low. Where do you fall today? Has anything squiggled up since I spoke to you?
No, 0. Yeah, it's good.
Love it. Okay. So tell us what you've experienced in your personal sphere when it comes to sex and love and connection and pleasure since we last spoke.
So I think last time we spoke, I mentioned wanting to get into more group play stuff.
Yeah.
That hasn't happened. I haven't done any more group play since then. But I have been playing with a lot more people at parties. So yeah, I've played with heaps of new people in about the last 8 months or so. That's been really cool. That was a big step for me. Yeah, putting it out there, asking for what I want and receiving it.
That's huge. I would love to hear things like how often are you going to these play parties? Is it the same community that you told us about before? What did cause you to decide to ask for what you want? And like how did you go about it?
Yeah, it's the same one I mentioned before. It's had a name change and a change of owners.
Okay.
It's called Luscious now.
Ooh, I love
Yeah,
that.
it's pretty cool. Partially, I think my wife and my lover both sort of stepped away from the parties a bit over that period. They had other stuff going on and other interests. So I was going to the parties on my own. With the parties, there's an online forum that you can interact there. So there's a bit of an online community around it as well as the real life stuff. Before each party, you can put up a scene offer, and then people can respond to that. And you can also offer the scene at the start of the party just to remind people or catch the ones who don't go online much. So I had the desire to experiment with my sadist side a bit more than
Mm.
I have. Neither of my partners are into pain. So we do a lot of lovely sensual play and a little bit of light kink, but nothing too heavy for them. And I'm a reasonably heavy masochist and a switch, so I wanted to see how that went with other people that were into pain. So I went onto the forum and offered that as a scene to inflict pain, erotic pain on someone. Got some takers on that and did that at the party and really enjoyed it. It was just so nice to do intense things to people and get intense, pleasurable reactions or that, that delicious no, yes energy.
Oh, that's such a good way to put it. No, no, yes, yes. That's exactly what I'm like when I'm receiving pain.
Yeah, same. So it's really nice to share that with other people. So I did that a few times, and in my head I was thinking it's actually quite easy to find submissive play partners or bottomy play partners, but it's probably hard to find toppy play partners, especially toppy women.
Mm,
I don't know why I thought that. I had no evidence to base that on, so I thought maybe I should test that theory before I act on it.
yeah.
So then I put up an announcement asking if anyone would be interested in participating in CBT with me. Yeah, I got 2 people took me up on that.
Okay.
So we did that at 2 separate parties. I had scenes with both of those lovely people. One of them only comes to Melbourne every now and then for the party, so we haven't caught up since then except a bit of online chat.
Mm.
But the other one lives in Melbourne and attends the parties fairly regularly. They really enjoyed it, and since then they've contacted me twice to suggest we do the scene again. So yeah, I've been having some really lovely pain at parties. Um,
Okay, can you give us some details? I would love some CBT. Okay, for anyone listening, we're not talking cognitive behavioral therapy. If you haven't yet listened to Hawthorn's first episode, we are talking cock and ball torture. So start there, and then I want to hear what sort of pains you've inflicted as well. Give us some details.
when I'm receiving, I bring my toy box, which has got basically all the toys I like to feel and use.
Yeah.
I made some sensory toys. So it's a snake, and the end's quite pointy. So if you drag that over the skin, hard or soft, depending on what you like. So that in the glands of the penis is really intense.
Gosh. Okay, so for anyone listening, because Hawthorne is not on camera, to me it looks like a tiny pointy boomerang. Like it's slightly bent. It's a little and
Yeah, it's sort of snaky.
snaky. Oh, okay, it's a little thicker. Okay, it actually looks more like a tiny bow, like the curved part of a bow. The wooden part a little bit is the shape. And but
Yeah,
it's
but
oh, and it's long. Oh, that's beautiful. Oh, it's wood, of
yeah,
course. You made it. I get it.
yeah, it's about as long as from the pointer to the thumb.
Yeah.
It's made out of an Australian timber called river she oak.
Okay.
So we usually start fairly light. I don't put much restriction on the top other than no permanent or long term damage. That's my main limit. I prefer to limit blood play as well, but
Mm, mhm.
I mean I have done that in the past, so I'm not against it. But particularly in a public play space, I prefer to limit it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Both the women I played with started out fairly gentle, just fondling my genitals and balls and around the area, and then gradually increased the pressure. So they'd be grabbing me by the balls and squeezing, fingernails over the head of my cock. The toys like that snake, the pointy ones on the head of the cock. The first time I did it with, I'll call her Al. But first time I did it with Al, she built up slowly. So with stuff like hands and sensation toys like that, she gradually got harder and then started using her hands to slap and punch and things like
So
that.
cool.
I've got a couple of paddles that have got sheepskin on one side, so they're quite good for thuddy impact. She used that, and I've got a knotted rope. It's quite a soft rope, but it's a fairly big, heavy knot on it, and she would hit me in the balls with that, slap my cock with a cane and
With a
stuff like
cane. Oh my god, I haven't done that.
yeah.
Whoa, that sounds intense.
Yes, it is. Yeah, getting caned on the cock is very intense. And getting hit in the balls, and yeah, she really loved it and got into it. Was very enthusiastic about it, and I'm pretty noisy when I play, so I'm screaming and yelling and breathing heavy and all that sort of stuff, and then she sort of was playing mind games. Do you want more? Do you want me to go harder? Stuff like that. So I find it very hard to talk when I'm in that spot. I go into subspace very quickly and
Yeah.
very deeply, and I find it hard to. So it's like, what? Do I want it to stop? Do I want it to go? Oh, fuck it, keep going harder. So that was the first time. Since then, she's got even more creative. So like, and we'll switch from there was soft. central plate in between that, the heavy stuff as well, that continued throughout. In later sessions, she would switch from gentle stuff to really intense stuff really quickly and back and forth. So that's amazing. Like that just turns my brain off, and I'm just nothing but sensation when that's happening. So yeah, lots of hitting and squeezing and pinching and scratching, bit of nipple torture as well, with hands and with nipple clamps, and just blowing my mind with the words she was using. And I go off a bit into it just thinking about it.
That's incredible. Are you able to remember any of the words or the texture and the kind of tone? And then also, like, do you lose your breath? Like, I know you're in subspace, but like, I've only done limited, since we spoke, I've played around with a lot more top space. Like, I kind of lived there most of the time now. And I've only gotten to, like, slap around a couple cocks and balls, but pretty hard, and they would lose their breath and sort of, like, have these moments where they needed recovery, but it sounds like you are a pretty extreme pain slut. So, like, tell us more about the sensations and the details.
Getting my cock hit with a cane it's a really intense, sharp pain. That wakes me up a bit. But if it keeps going, then I go back into that, like, altered, difficult to respond coherently state. I think I breathe pretty much. I shout a lot. That probably keeps the breath going. With the more thuddier stuff on the balls, I can't contain myself when that happens. And I double over. We were doing it on a massage table, but I still doubled over on the table, and it takes a couple of seconds to straighten the body out and be ready to take more. Yeah, if that happens in quick succession, which Elle does like to do that, she likes to vary the timing, so I don't really know what's coming next or when, and I quite like that. I like that
Yeah.
anticipatory fear. Getting hit in the balls is probably one of my favourite sensations. I think I can take more of that than I can of the stingy pain.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've had a lot of other cock owners look at me weirdly after one of those scenes and just shake their heads in disbelief.
Totally. I mean, even when I tell penis owning friends, like how I've played with these couple of people who loved pain on their cock and balls, the reactions I get are like, "Oh, fuck no. Fuck no, 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 no." I'm like, "It's
Yeah,
so fun though." Yeah. Ooh. What about, like, stretching, pinching? Like, is it mostly impact? Because, like, you mentioned all the sensations, like, what are some of the specific sensations that maybe aren't the extreme ones, but are interesting in their own right?
like having someone drag their fingernails over the head of the cock, the perineum, and the frenulum, all those really nerve-rich places. That'll send shivers right through me. And then, increasing the pressure a little bit so it's a bit more pinchy feels nice. Like, sensation on the cock and balls feels way more intense than anywhere else. I respond pretty strongly to touch anywhere, and soft touch or hard, both really send me off into altered states. But yeah, on the cock and balls, it's different and more intense. One of my favourite things to do, which my lover Miss V and I have done it, we go to other play parties as well. We've done that at both play parties, and one of the things that she does, which I really like, is punch or slap me in the balls really hard and fast. Like, you see in the boxing gym, the speed balls.
Yes, that's exactly what I imagined. Oh my gosh. Are you laying down, standing up, bent over, like, on all fours?
Dep- Usually not on all fours. Depends where we are and what equipment we can use. I've got a fold up play bench that I made. The lower bench comes off that, so I can sit in that, with my legs spread and my balls free. on where the cushion would be, but it's not. So it gives pretty good access. So we've done it there. Ms. V quite likes doing that. She'll sit on the floor in front of me, so she gets good access and that. My wife doesn't like sitting on the floor, so when we do it, we tend to use other furniture. We've tried it on a spanking bench with me bent forward.
Mm.
That's not as great. The spanking benches don't allow enough access.
Yeah.
But we've done it on massage tables or play benches with me on my back and my legs up in stirrups or me holding them up. My wife prefers that. Ms. V is good sitting on the floor. I've also got a play swing. It's a round swing that I got off eBay, and I use that at home, and I also take it to play parties. Like the one I go to regularly, Luscious, has got suspension points, so I can play that there. And I've done CBT on that, and yeah, Miss V likes that one too. Actually, everyone who's played on that likes it,
So
whether they're laying on it or topping the person that's laying on it. And it spins as well, so you can sort of play with someone's genitals and then spin them around. And
that's excellent. Is it a soft chair or like does it have a structured shape?
so it's a circle, a
Yeah.
metal circle with netting underneath it, and I've
Okay.
got a cushion. My wife Sheila made a cushion to go on it, and the cushion's got like a water resistant. It's made of water resistant stuff, and then it's got a washable cover on it. So I also, depending on how messy the play's likely to be, I also use like splash blankets and stuff like that. So yeah, that's really cool. Yeah, everyone. I'm looking at it now. I've got
I
it
thought so.
suspended from the ceiling.
Their eyes keep going up, and I'm like, they're totally looking at it.
Yeah, I'll see if I can. Do you want me to see if I can spin the phone around so you can see it?
I would love to see it. Everyone's gonna be jealous, but I love looking at stuff.
So that's it hanging from the ceiling.
Cool. Okay, so yeah, I'm looking at a circle. And it looks is it hoisted
Yeah,
up or is it like it looks like it's
yeah.
up in the air?
I've got. Yeah, it's right up in the air against the ceiling. So it normally hangs from ropes down at about waist height.
Okay.
I've got hooks in the rafters, and I just hang it from that and balance it up there. That's the stool that I play on.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so the net's like this. There's like side legs here, and then the ass goes there, and then the cushion just got put in there, and now they are facing that way.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so are you able to stay still when you're getting tortured like that? Or are you squiggly? Because I'm really squiggly, especially if I'm receiving intense impact.
Yeah, in that position, I probably don't move as much as when I'm, say, lying on the swing or a table. My legs come up off the ground, but that's about it. That was one of the first times we did CBT at a party was with Ms. V. I was sitting on that, like right out of it with the sensation. And at one point, I've opened my eyes, and there was just like a wall of people behind Ms. V watching the scene, and that just whoa, like freaked me out in a good way. I was
Okay. Yeah.
really turned on by the exhibitionism of it.
That's so cool. That's so cool. I've only watched one really intense scene, and there were a whole gaggle of us at Kinkfest watching this person. And the look, I loved watching, and I loved watching the looks on everyone's faces. That's so cool.
And, yeah. So I don't normally get to see that, but I opened my eyes at the right time. We always get a lot of positive feedback when I do a CBT scene. There's always mostly vulva owners
Mm.
come up and say how incredible it was to watch. Cock owners tend to be a bit more squicky about it. Understandable.
Yeah.
The first time we did CBT on that stool at the party, after that, I moved from sitting on the chair with my legs open to putting the bench on and kneeling on it, and then Miss V fucked me with a strap on, and that that was actually that was one of my, from the very first time I heard about play parties, that was like a fantasy that I wanted to fulfill, was to get fucked at a party. So it was super hot to be able to do that. And if I'm loud when I'm receiving CBT, I'm off the scale when I'm getting fucked.
Really?
I just, it's so intense. Like, I start having prostate orgasms almost straight away.
Oh, really?
And,
Multiples too?
oh, fuck, over and over and over.
Even when your cock
It,
and balls have been destroyed?
yeah, the sensation's not so much in the cock and balls, it's in the prostate.
I know. No, it's just
Um,
I don't know how I don't have those parts, and so I also know that, like, people can be sensitive one place and it can balance out with they're sensitive other places, and so okay, so multiples.
yeah, over and over. I think we tried to count it one time, but we lost count. That was a while ago now. I can't
Yeah,
remember what we got to, but several dozen at least. Yeah, it's a wild sensation. But yeah, I can, like, sometimes after we do CBT play with both my wife and Ms. V, sometimes I'll do a cock massage and hand job at the end. And that's a super intense orgasm
I bet.
after all the stimulation. Yeah,
That's incredible.
it, it feels incredible. I haven't had that experience at a play party. I've never had an ejaculatory orgasm at a play party,
Okay.
only in private. But
Mm.
yeah, plenty of prostate orgasms.
Mm. Wow. Why do you think that is? Or is there a reason?
It does take me a long time to have an ejaculatory orgasm,
Mhm.
so probably we just run out of time. I think the majority of the time I've done CBT with Ms. V, we've also done strap-on play as well. I'm way more unlikely to have an ejaculatory orgasm after butt play.
Wait, did you say way more likely or way more unlikely?
Unlikely.
Okay.
Yeah, I think years ago I had a partner who liked to do pegging first and then CBT, and liked edging me
Mhm.
as well while she was doing the CBT. Yeah, in that scenario, I would often come, but if I do the pegging or butt play after CBT, I'm unlikely to have a cock orgasm. It's all bum orgasms, and I just haven't got the energy.
That makes total sense. I had my first human toy that I was really more deeply experimenting with. I learned that I could overuse it in one way that would make it, not useful in the other way. And so I've learned the order of operations there with that. And every body is different and sometimes different on different days.
Yeah.
What do you remember, if anything, about the dirty talk that you're receiving or the kind of dynamic of the play when you're being talked like that?
So I think my wife Sheila and Ms. V, both, it's more laughing than talking with them. But with Al, who I play with at the party, the first time it was just checking in, is this okay? We use the traffic light system for indicating, or numbers from 1 to 10 to
Yeah.
indicate intensity. So she would ask, is that green? Yeah, and she'd say, what's the intensity? What intensity would you like to feel? And I'd say that. But the one time she was, in the middle of play, she started talking castration fantasies. Like, who owns your balls? Oh, you do, mistress. They're my balls, aren't they? Yes, mistress. I can do what I want with them. I can cut them off if I want, can't I? That was a head fuck, fun head fuck, stuff like that. And then when she's hitting me really hard, particularly with the knot in the balls, that's super intense. She'll do that and say, can you take more? Yes, yes, mistress. Can you take 5 more for me? And
Ooh.
then she'll do like this is a specific time she did like 5 pretty hard whacks, and yeah, I was that. That's how we finished the session with the heavy impact. And then she's like very like praiseful. Well done. You've done a good job for me, and yeah, stuff like that, which is cool. And then we went and laid down on a mattress and did aftercare.
Mm.
That's been a lot of fun. Often with Ms. V after we do the CBT, we'll cuddle, and then sometimes if she's in the mood for it, I'll go down on her and give her an orgasm. My wife's not into genital play at parties particularly, um, but yeah, after we do a session at home, we'll often lie down and cuddle, and she'll have an orgasm, and then we're both exhausted, so we have an afternoon nap together.
Oh, that's amazing. That's talk about an afternoon delight. Dang.
Absolutely.
Wow. Okay, so when you are in top space, how have you been enjoying inflicting pain?
I really like it. Like, I love the sensations and the feedback. So one of the first ones I did it with was really into breast pain. I was playing with her breasts and squeezing and pulling the nipples, and she really enjoyed that. And then I grabbed one breast by the nipple and pulled it like up
I
and
love
slapped the
that.
breast.
Yes.
Yeah,
Ooh, that's
yeah,
so fun. Yeah. My nipples are pretty tough. They can take a lot. So when someone actually, and I have wiggly so it's like, oh, that's so fun.
yeah. So I did that and then slapped the breasts with a cane. It's
Ooh.
a short cane, maybe 12, 13 inches long.
Okay. How thick was it?
I've got a couple. I can't remember which one I used on that.
Okay.
I've got one that I made from a bit of plastic out of a flooring insert that they use to join sheets of flooring together. It's called yellow tongue. I made one out of that. That's very whippy and stingy. And I've got two rattan canes, short ones. One's fairly thin, maybe a bit over a quarter of an inch diameter, and the other one's about 3/8. And I can't remember which one of those I used, but whichever one it was, she enjoyed it. So yeah, I did that on both breasts, and then did pussy slapping with my hand and with canes, and yeah, and like I also did like a sadistic massage, so digging in hard on her muscles and grabbing the skin and the flesh and twisting and squeezing and stuff like that. She enjoyed that. I really enjoyed it. There's something very viscerally delightful about being able to grab someone really hard
Yeah. Oh,
and have them lean into it. I love that feeling. I like it when it happens to me, and I like it when I do it to someone else. It's great. And then we finished that session off with I put a magic wand on her or next to her clit and fingered her till she had an orgasm. That took a while.
yeah.
I've got arthritis in my hands, so I noticed that, but it was worth it.
Wow.
Yeah, she's the only one that's wanted to take it to an orgasmic point.
Mm,
The other, it's all been vulva owners that I've topped so far.
mm.
The other ones like different forms of pain. I played with one person on the swing and caning her bum as well as her breasts and between the thighs and
Ooh,
on the
that's
pussy, and
such a
yeah,
sensitive spot.
yeah. So I pay very close attention to the feedback I'm getting when I do that, and
Yeah.
check in and get a number, intensity, and that sort of thing. So yeah, it's fun. It feels dirty and sexy, and I don't know, playing with someone who's super into what you're doing and sexy and lustful about it just feels really good. Like, I just love that energy, when people are just totally enthusiastic and open about their desires.
Yeah.
It just feels awesome when you can play with that.
I totally, totally feel that. I mean, it's, in my opinion, such a specifically delicious form of connection to be sharing that wavelength and having that experience of sadistic delight, sadistic and masochistic delight together, and to be, to be in a zone where it's safely held. And man, it's been a couple of years since I've played in a group setting like that. And in a kinky group setting, I'm like, "Oh, I gotta go back. I want to get," because I had my first experiences with whips in, in a giant dungeon space. It's like a convention center, and it was really fun to just, watch all the people come up and watching. And I don't think I've used the number system as a bottom. Because as I'm listening to you talk, I'm like, "Oh," thinking about some of the sensations I've had, I'm like, "Oh, how would I have rated those numbers?" And what about when you go nonverbal? Are you still able to say numbers, or does it take a second, or is it like part of the fun and you can spit it out because your mistress is telling you or asking you?
Yeah, yeah, it definitely, sort of unlocks the submissive side of the play, because it's quite difficult for me to get from where I am when I'm feeling it to a space where I can even say a number
Yeah.
or a color. So, and I quite like that feeling of befuddlement and being made to say something that's tricky for me.
Mm.
That I get a bit of a sub buzz out of that.
Oh, I love that. What other toys or tools have you made lately? Like, what else have you constructed in your arsenal that we maybe don't know about yet?
I'm in the process of making a yoke, like a
Ooh.
pillory yoke. So I've got that here. I can show you that too.
Yes. Okay, I'm gonna try to make it
Um,
with my hand. Okay, so it opens like this. It's two pieces. It goes swoopy, big swoop, little swoop. Oh, that's so good. It's a standalone, a portable yoke.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
so cool. Let's
Um,
see. I'm like, I'll draw a picture.
there's pictures of all these things on my Fat Life page.
Link will be in the description below for any who care to look. And in the meantime, can you see my shape? This is approximately. Okay, I'm not as good of a drawer, but the head goes here in the middle. Arms are out here. That's beautiful. What kind of wood is that?
It's Australian eucalypt.
Ooh.
I'm in the process of carving scales all the way along it, so
Cool.
that's taken forever.
Like dragons, like it's a dragon yoke or what? Like scales, what kind of scales do you think of them as?
Snakes. The
Snake.
shape's a snake like.
Okay, so tell me the significance of snakes for you, because this is the second snake shape that's come up.
Like I think snakes are beautiful animals, and they really lend themselves to kink toys. I think they're just so sensual and undulating, and they're edgy. They're a bit edgy. Even just images of them. Got another one. That's a dragon tail I made. So it's got
Oh.
the heads out of Australian red gum, and then the tails crimson leather. Yeah. So I made another fairly big snake paddle. It's almost like a club. I couldn't find it today. I've been playing with it. I'm not sure where I left it. Yeah, my partner Ms. V really likes playing with that one. It feels really sensual on the butt because like I put a really fine, smooth finish on it,
Mm.
and it feels amazing being dragged across the body. The curves of the paddle conform to the curves of the body, so you can
Oh.
sort of drag it along the body to give a massagey sensation. You can put it between the butt cheeks, and it sort of cups the whole from the round to the
Ooh.
perineum. Yeah, neither of my play partners are into getting hit, hard by that. But I quite like it. But it's stingy. It's pretty stingy if you
Okay.
hit with the flat side. Whereas if you hit with the edge,
Yeah.
it's more thuddy.
Okay.
So it's a really versatile. I wish I could find it, but I've put it down somewhere and not remembered where. So yeah, I really like that.
Well, I would love to know if for you, is there an element of like extra turn on knowing that you've made these tools that are creating these sensations? Because just for me as an outside observer, or like I imagine that if I had a play partner with that level of skill. There's something, I don't know, it feels special to me.
Yeah, there's definitely a magic about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really like the feedback I get when I use the toys. People notice them and comment. Yeah, I probably use my hands about the same or a little bit more than I use the toys
Yeah.
because like feeling bodies under your hands is the best thing.
I agree. I agree. And I have such a thing for hands. Like I love because also I know what my hands on me feel like. I get feedback and sensation both ways. And someone else's hands on me when I don't know what they're gonna do, but it's I don't know, that's a different kind of special. I mean, yeah, there's many kinds of special, but yeah, yeah. Ugh, hand special tools. Yeah. On the note of magic, tell us a little bit about paganism. And you and I were just kind of mentioning sex magic right before we started. Like, how does that live in your world?
So yeah, I've been a pagan since my mid-teens. I was probably a pagan before that, but I didn't have a word for it
Yeah.
before then. But when I found out about it, it's like, oh yeah.
Okay, and if someone listening has no concept or they're like, ah, witchcraft, like what could you just describe it for us?
So for me, and I think like everyone who does it's got their own interpretation because it's a very experiential practice. Yeah, it hasn't got a lot of dogma. I mean, there's always someone will try and introduce dogma, but for the most part, the vast majority of people who do it resist dogma, and it's more about the experiences you have. So it's a direct, like mystical relationship. And for some people, that's a relationship directly with the physical world. So it's like animism that everything has spirit in it or a spirit in it, and sometimes they'll see that spirit as personal, individual entities, and sometimes it's just the whole overarching spirit of things. Some people envisage those spiritual energies as gods and spirits and allies and things like that. I'm a bit in that camp. I do feel a personal relationship with a lot of the spirits I work with. That they feel like, and I interact with them as if they're individual entities,
Yeah.
but just not in a physical body. For most pagans that I know, there's also big elements of veneration and care for the environment and the world, and environmental concerns, spiritual relationship with where they live and how they exist in the world and how they interact with the world. I've certainly got that. For me, making toys and tools and carvings has a strong spiritual element. It feels like I'm in communion with the wood that I'm using, with the animal that I'm representing, with the tools I'm using, and just the flow state that I go into when I do it. So it's a total spiritual experience carving. And sex is like that for me too, All sex is sacred to me. And I very much define sex as being completely reliant on consent. Like if there's no consent, it's not sex. It's assault or
Yes.
rape. You know,
Yes. Yes.
um, and I'm very, very sure on that. So consent's important, but once it's consensual, like everything, no matter how weird or out there, or even if it's not my thing, even if it totally squicks me,
Yeah.
it's still sacred. So that's my approach to sex and magic. But also, I also do like sex magic where I'll do some sort of ritualized action
Mm.
to create an effect and an intent. And like I actually did that years ago before I opened my relationship and before I started going to parties and all that. I was in a very depressed state. I wasn't working and I was very unfit, and my sex life was just almost non existent. I was
Mm.
going through a bad time with my wife. So I did some magic to change that. I use a technique called sigilization where I make a visual representation of what I want to achieve. And then I focus on that while I go use various techniques like dance and chant and breathing to go into a trance.
Yeah.
and then use self-stimulation to have an orgasm. And all that while I'm visualizing the sigil I've created.
Mm.
I imagine at the moment of orgasmic release, that all that energy that I've raised is going into the sigil to activate it
Yeah.
and then put that away. So that worked. Two of the three things worked. I started working in a job that I love and I'm still doing.
Yes.
I started, we talked about an open relationship for years, but hadn't done anything about it. And then I started meeting and playing with people. And that, strangely, that also revitalized my relationship with my wife. So that was awesome. Took me a while to get fit. I've really only started focusing on that just recently. And the original spells I did 10 years ago or more. So I don't think I can credit that with the fitness thing. But the other two were brilliant. And I was sort of like, that'll do. I'll accept that. Thank you, universe.
Yeah, I say, "Thank you more, please." And,
Yeah.
what I've been taught is and what I continue to practice is trusting the divine timing. I've always been told, "Plant the seeds, hold the intention, let go of my human timeline." And one sort of, I guess, I don't know, is it a prayer saying I have lots of, like, helpful phrases that are touchstones for me that are truly create magic in my world, and one that I've been using this past year is I'm willing to be wildly, delightfully, satisfyingly surprised. And all of this is grounded in a thank you, thank you, thank you. Knowing and trusting that every experience I have, even if it's, very painful, I have some painful difficulties in my 3D experience right now with grief and sadness going on. And as I develop that trust, it helps me be like, okay, divine timing. Okay, thank you, divine timing. Somehow this is all working out
Yeah.
for us. I love that. I've never focused so intently on I've never brought sigil magic into my orgasmic world. However, I have a few touchstone things that I will focus on. And if I'm with the right partner, I will often, if I sense that they might be open, but maybe have no connection to, I guess, magical spirituality, like if they're in a space of hope, but they are sort of like anchored in the 3D hopelessness. I always,
Yeah.
I always tell people, like, I really believe sex is the most powerful transcendent magic we humans have regular access to. And so I let them know I'm a touchstone. I always invite people, regardless of where I meet them, right? Even if I'm at work at the brothel or if I have a casual lover, I'm like, look, I'll hold the vision with you, and we can create this. And so I love inviting that in. However it feels comfy to a partner, right? Like we all have our own methods. I love that.
That's awesome.
Is your magic all solo? Do you bring partners into it?
I tried doing ritual magic stuff with my wife,
Yeah,
and we just got totally different ways of
yeah,
approaching magic. So it was very crinkly,
yeah,
to
yeah.
use your word. I love that word. Yeah. So most of the time when we do magic together, it's in a group. So that waxes and wanes. Sometimes I do group stuff, and sometimes I'm more into solo or couple stuff. I do magic with Ms. V. It's usually more a contemplative type of magic. We'll cast a circle and just dedicate the time and the pleasure that we're having to something. Often it's just like general goodwill and love in the world.
Yeah.
When the current political situation started becoming obvious where it was going, at first I felt very depressed and hopeless
Yeah.
about it. And I thought, well, that's no good. That's not putting anything good in the world. So again, I thought, what can I do? I need to be a source of love and hope and joy and pleasure. What's the best way to do that? So I created a sigil with that intent
Mm.
and charged that and visualize that being part of me. So, and with the intent that every time I have a pleasurable experience, particularly sexually pleasurable experience, that sigil is activated and that joy and love goes out into the world.
Yeah.
So sometimes I'll actually visualize that, when I'm making love, having sex, being kinky, being weird. Yeah, but I've also got the intent that that happens whether I'm consciously aware of it or not.
Yeah.
Because often when I have a sexual or erotic or kinky encounter, there's no consciousness there.
Yeah.
I'm not thinking of anything. I'm just completely immersed in the sensation, and that feels like an important part of the magic I do now. And I tell everyone I know that's into magic that I do that, and invite them to do something similar if they feel moved to do it.
I love that. Let that be an invitation for all of us. I mean, I always say I'm here to spread ripples of love in practical, tangible, everyday ways. And that is exactly what I mean.
I think you do an awesome job of that with your podcasts and all the different things you do. I think it's amazing. I, yeah, I really admire what you've done and what you're doing.
Thank you. It's so interesting because I'm speaking with you at this point where I'm Yo and I'm Luna and I'm all parts of me. And I feel really good about how I've been going at my own pace about what I share with whom when. And also, I'm in this new phase of being like, ooh, all of me is welcome. And I didn't realize how much love I was still holding back. I'm like, oh my goddess, I'm a big love heart. Like, and part of that is because I've scared myself by scaring other people with, as I as earlier me lacked finesse or, kind of the ability. I'm learning to listen with my whole body and my heart and my spirit as well as with my ears, right? Because I through 8 years of interviewing people, I've now gotten the experience of, learning how much more love there is to continue to grow. And there's a older version of me that's like, "Ah, love, that's like intangible." And then there's the version of me that's like, "Actually, that's the most tangible thing and the most important thing." And I know, whether we're at a play party with someone or whether I'm meeting someone. I meet so many people at the grocery store, like, or I just chat with people on the street, or I have experiences with people who come to the ranch in Nevada to visit, whether I'm just chatting with them in the bar or taking them on a tour and sharing, this stuff and talking about smashing shame. I mean, I'm in the process of in divine timing, selling my loft for a great price, and I had a great conversation with the realtor about shame, and like and their process with it. And I think the more that I show up in respectful, safe ways in the fullness of my human self where it's appropriate, the more that other people are doing that. And then, it creates this kind of like upward spiral of love. And
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, and I'm
Magic
just beginning.
ripple effect.
Yeah, magic ripple effect and, like, stepping into community space with that, because I've been such a solo wanderer these past few years, and now I'm able to come into community anchored in myself, and it sounds like you've been having that experience for quite a while. The people that you were playing with, did you already know them? Was it or, like, did you meet more through I mean, it sounds like Miss V is your lover and you have your wife, but, your play partners how well did you know them in the community before you kind of went forward with the scenes?
Some of them quite well, and others not so well. I'd had interactions with all of them at the party. I think I spoke about this last time. I do a thing that I call positive objectification, where I just tell everyone what I'm enjoying about their physical appearance in that moment. So I think with all of them but one, all of the ones I've done that with. So we've had that level of interaction. And then, you know, some of them I've chatted to more than others. So yeah, I have known them, but it's quite a new thing for me to play with someone. I used to really prefer to play with people that I had a fairly strong connection with,
Mm,
and now I'm finding I can play. And I used to get a real icky feeling if I didn't go through that process.
mm,
Now I'm finding I don't need to do that. I think it's because I'm allowing more in and being more open and vulnerable that I can have those intense, intimate experiences with people that I don't know super well, but that I know a little bit and can enjoy that. And in a sense, it's been more open to love, even though, that's not an overt part of the relationships. We're just having a fun just having a fun. What a ridiculous statement. We're having fun together. Like, what could be more important or more beautiful than that? Um, so yeah, I think it's like coming to that realization that I'm worthy of having fun with people without having to pay the price of being in love with them.
Yes, and I like to make it in positive statements, so with the permission to show up with the amount of love we actually feel in a moment,
Yeah,
maybe,
yeah,
whatever
yeah,
resonates for you.
yeah. That resonates.
Because it's people ask me, they're like, "Oh, so you just, like, fuck strangers?" And I'm like, "Well, I feel more able to get to know a new to me human by sitting and chatting with them for 10, 20 minutes and deciding if I wanna play, way more connected than, like, lots of text exchanges through an app. And I can tell you I'm much safer, and I feel more valued because I am valued, in this way where there's a level of clarity, and I totally have my own version of the allowing that I heard you speak about, the allowing more in because I don't take on other people's stuff. Like, I'm very clear, like, if there's a vibe that's not mine, that's theirs, and sometimes I choose to hold space for it if I think I can be supportive, and also, like, when people are, like, fountains of trash near me, I wish them well and I wish them away, and I back slowly away if I am able, and, in the cases where yeah, I remove myself, and I have labeled myself this year, I've labeled myself a kind sexual. Like, if I gotta have a sexual, and people are like, "What's that?" I'm like, "Ah, it's pansexual, and my filter is kindness," right? And,
I
for
like
better
that. Yeah.
thanks, yeah, and because I realized, I'm like, early me was really excited to physically connect with anyone who was kind to me. And while there is this, like, utopian part of me that's like, "It's so beautiful, it's wonderful," the reality is that harm came to me in various ways. Luckily, nothing too capital T traumatic, but many tiny T's that I'm still unpacking in my own way. And,
Mm.
so I still am in many ways wearing training wheels. What's it called? Bicycling along my sexy life with training wheels on as I understand what safe relations when I am so generous, when I have so much love to give. And so finding meaningful ways of relevance to connect physically and intimately to make magic together, I think it's so special. Like, I think it's so special, and I'm this year perhaps getting back into play parties. I've discovered a couple of communities that I'm getting to know to see if it's a fit. And it's
Mm.
so, I have to tell you, Hawthorn, play party wise, community wise, you are a touchstone in my brain for what's possible. Because I remember your story. I remember the vetting process. I remember how you spoke about that community. And I'm like, okay, it's out there. So in divine
Mm.
timing, I am finding mine. I've discovered so many great ways to meet people that work for me now. And I'm always curious to see what the next expansion looks like. And getting to, like, revel in the parts of kind sexuality that are for my highest good as well as the highest good. I believe that whatever is for my highest good, your highest good, is for the collective's highest good. That is truly what I believe.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, we've talked for a little bit. Is there anything else, like, I feel like I could probably ask you details for forever, but is there anything else bubbling up or any specific recent-ish stories and or other things that you hope to explore next?
Probably. I've been doing foot play with my wife recently. She's got into that.
How so? Like, yeah, how tell us. I'm obsessed with feet. Like, I don't have a foot
Oh,
fetish,
no.
but I have an obsession with foot fetishes that continues to increase because I still have not achieved my dream of having, like, a white tablecloth dinner date where I play footsie with the person who has a fetish under like, I just maybe it starts with a pedicure, I don't know, but, like, it just keeps playing in my head, and I've had a couple of foot worshippers who have been really good, and so I'm just like, "Oh my god, I want more." So, okay, every detail that you are allowed to share, please.
Yeah, so well, she really liked having the bottoms of her feet hit mostly gently,
Okay.
but like building up the intensity to a moderate level. She likes the padded paddles I've got.
Ooh.
Yours them. I've got a plywood paddle that's about maybe 18 inches long, including the handle. The blade of it is maybe 2.5 inches wide. It's a strong laminated plywood, so it's very stable. And yeah, she loves that. I can hit her. She'll take that all day. It's her favourite. I've got a couple of little like bongers that are they're handled with it like a rubber golf ball looking thing mounted on a spring.
I love those. Wait, what do you call that? Wait, on a spring. Oh, what do you call it?
A bonger.
Oh, I love that. I gotta get a ball. I have it's a squishy ball on top on a long, thick, heavy metal rod. I call that a bopper, but I want one with a spring. I want a bonger. I want proper bongers.
Yeah, yeah, they're good fun. I've used them in a lot of play. They feel great on your back, on your leg.
Oh,
I like them for CBT as well, but apparently they also feel great on your feet. So
I can imagine. Earlier when you were talking about canes, I'm like, oh, canes scare me so much. I've taken some
yeah,
canings. I've had some canes broken on my ass. And I think
wow.
my favorite place that I've received well, I'm like, was this a full cane or was it a switch? I can't remember, but I think I had a switch and a cane and a what's it called? It's wooden and it's curly and you use it to beat rugs. Is that called a rug beater?
I think it's called a rug beater. Yeah,
Okay. I had that used on my like those 3 things I had, I got like a sample session
yeah,
and I really liked I mean, it was hard to walk after. I was like, "Oh, ow, 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 ow." And I got bruises on my feet, and I felt so proud. I was like,
wow.
"Oh." Yeah, but I haven't thought about that since
Yeah.
until you mentioned just now. Mm,
Yeah, so that's been fun. That wasn't something I thought I was into, but
yeah.
I enjoy it now, and my wife definitely likes it.
What are your feet like sensation-wise if you're receiving?
I'm not that wrapped in pain on the feet, although it's all context dependent. Last time I did CBT with Al, she asked me if I wanted my feet tortured, and like at that point, I'm yeah, yes,
Would it please you, mistress?
yeah, exactly.
Then yes, of course.
Uh,
That's how I feel.
yeah, totally. So yeah, she started like digging her knuckles into the soles and squeezing and also hitting with things. And yeah, I have to admit I enjoyed that. Yeah, I can't remember much of the sensation, but I remember thinking this is cool. Yeah,
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 yeah.
more ball torture, please. Please.
Well, and also, like, sometimes okay, this is what I was gonna ask you earlier too, because sometimes when I'm receiving a big pain here, and then I also have another focus there, it's a whole different like, kaleidoscope picture. I don't quite know how to say it, but, like, when I'm receiving intense impact, often, my ass is a favored target because it's very appealing to people. And, when I can have that sensation balanced out, whether it's like, "Oh, I also get a cock in my mouth," or like, "I'm allowed to play with these balls," or like, or "I get to kiss her while you're doing that to me," or, something I love having and like you were saying, the back and forth, like the dual sensations between something really
Mm.
mean and then a little break to kind of like reset my nervous system. I'm sure it's doing something delicious in my endogenous endorphins, like whatever's getting released. But What about your toes? Do you like your toes getting touched? Because I also recently have taken to just, like, pulling on like, both because it's fun to feel all the things, and I think it's also quite intimate because, well, I'm discovering through feedback that many people have not had their feet touched by another person at all.
Yeah, I like having my feet massaged, and yeah, I enjoy that. Yeah, the toes as well. That's great. I love that. Yeah, that's very relaxing. Yeah, I'll often do that with my wife. She'll sit in front of me. I'll rub her head and shoulders, and then she'll massage my feet.
Oh,
That's that's something we do, just for a bit of pleasure and connection. It's not intense or time consuming or requires preparation and that. So yeah, that's good. I enjoy that.
mm,
I like playing with feet. I don't think I'm a foot fetishist, but
yeah,
I do like playing with feet and kissing them and massaging them and licking them, and
yeah.
particularly if the person I'm doing it with is into that. I did a scene with Ms. V last week sometime. Yeah, we were doing a Mistress Toppy CBT scene. She came in wearing the most amazing outfit. She wears this black top with her breasts out, and she's got a fringed collar or beaded collar, and it's black and gold,
Mm,
and then lace knickers and this ruffled skirt that's up at the right up at the front and long at the back, so you can see her knickers when she's walking or standing, and a pair of boots with a reasonably high heel, not super high, but just enough to that you knew it was a heel. And yeah, she came into the room, and I I was stunned at first by the visual overwhelm of it. Then she told me to kneel down and kiss her feet with the boots on, so I did that. I do like being ordered around like that's hot from just a submissive side, but also kissing someone's feet through their shoes feels kinky as well, and
yeah.
yeah, I do like that. So I kissed both her feet, and then she sat down and told me to take one of the boots off and massage her feet. Yeah, that was hot as fuck. Yeah, we were just saying the other day, we've been together at least 7 years now,
Mm,
and we still have these amazing sexual adventures together. Like, you can definitely maintain a connection and interest over a long term if you just, a bit open minded about it. And particularly if you think about sex as more than just penetration,
yeah,
like, there's so many cool things you can do.
yeah, absolutely. Going back to what we were talking about earlier, I continue to think of sex more and more as, I call it our original creativity. And I think of it as our self-expression, creative self-expression. And when we're doing that with a
Mm,
partner, I think that, because it's sort of like any kind of artistry, right? Like if we're doing it in group, like finding that collaboration element. And so, I speak with so many people who tell me about the flame that goes out or the connection that is lost between them and their partner. And so often, if they choose to go down the path of exploring what that's about with me, because some people want to and some people do not, it depends on the context. What I'm discovering over and over again is most people end up telling me that they have lost their connection to themselves. They are
okay.
either not living in their body or they're not, they're doing something in the world that some part of them isn't down with, and so they're shutting off. And so they're shut off to themselves, so they can't share themselves with their partner, and their partner may be in a similar place. And so it's these two people paralleling. And then when I talk to people who have this kind of ongoing dynamic that grows and evolves together, I often hear that there is conversation that is,
Mm,
mutually exciting to both of them. I hear that there is growth happening, not just like I'm growing and we're informing each other, but it's the like mutual growth inspired by the co creation. And so, like you said, it's when we I don't know, it's not when we expand our definition of what it is. Those are at least that's the story that I'm making out of my observations. No one is saying it to me in those words, but those are the kind of patterns that
Mm.
I think I observe.
Yeah, when I look back, probably, yeah, the times when I felt disconnected from my wife was when I was disconnected from myself. We've been lucky in that we've been willing to try different things. So, things that could have ended our relationship, we've thought outside the box and,
Mm.
tried different things. Like I live separately from my wife. We live in the same building, but we've got separate areas.
You do?
Yeah.
I think I would love that. Can you speak a little bit about that?
Yeah. So the house we live in is 2 levels. It's on a sloping block of land. And at the front it's a single story mid-70s house. But at the back they dug out under the house, like the was dug out before the house was built, and there were 2 flats under the house. My father used to own the house, and I bought it off him. And when I bought the house, we were living upstairs, and my grandfather and my brother were living in 2 separate flats downstairs.
Mm.
Then, my grandfather passed on, and then my brother moved to another house. So downstairs, we've got 2 flats. Anyway, my wife and I were going through a hard time, not getting on at all, so we decided to separate. And I moved down into one of the flats and turned the other flat into a workshop and meditation area. So they're separate from each other. So that's where I spend a lot of my time, and it's fantastic. I've got a little flat that's got everything I need in it. I can have people over, for play dates and stuff like that. Yeah, my wife can come down here and play, and she doesn't have to worry about what state her house is in. So
That's so cool.
yeah, it works really well. Like, not everyone's got the situation where they can do that, but it
Yeah.
worked for us.
Yeah. Well, and it's
Um,
not right for everyone. And I often have
mm,
stories that I tell myself of like, "Ah, I'm just going to be single forever because other people are a lot. And eventually, they're in my space all the time and they think I'm so wonderful at first. And then they change their mind. And it's like, I know that I'm me and they're that, and I actually am like, oh, because I also don't want to be far away from someone if if I really care about them and I need my space. Like, I need space.
mm,
So
yeah.
that's quite inspiring to hear, actually. Yeah.
Yeah. I have thought if I didn't live in this situation, it would be quite nice, to live on a bit of land where,
Yeah.
you know, friends and lovers
Yes.
in tiny houses, each having our
Yes.
own.
I want a big communal space for kitchens and then like gathering, ideally like a big open. I dream a lot
Yeah,
about a big open space, and big enough to bring in some friends. Yeah, this is the dream.
yeah. I'd quite like that, but my wife's not into the idea of communal living.
Yeah. Yeah. I understand.
She doesn't like that idea.
I mean, a lot of personalities in one place always creates interesting things at some point sooner or later, right? you know.
This is true. Yeah.
Yeah. And there's plenty of research that says people who have tight-knit community tend to fare well longer into later years. And I'm like, I want that. How do I you know?
Yeah.
So, figuring
Yeah,
out
that
what works for us.
definitely
That's
makes sense.
yeah, yeah,
Makes sense to me. Yeah.
totally. Okay, so tell us hopes for the future. What's bubbling up right now? What can we hold with you and root for you?
More of what I'm having now, and new adventures and learning new things. I had an experience last weekend. I went to a play party by the same organisation that does the one I go to, but this was structured differently. It was a smaller space, less people, and quieter. It was billed as a sensory party rather than a heavy play party. I did a scene with someone there that was one of the most one of the most erotic experiences I've ever had, and there was no genital play whatsoever. It was her idea. She invited people to join her, and what it was I read. from a book she'd bought by a Nin.
Yes. I knew you were gonna
One
say
I
that.
hadn't heard of.
I knew you were gonna. Okay, okay.
Yeah,
What book was it? Do you remember?
I think it was called Models. It's one I haven't heard of before.
Okay, okay.
She sat down with her back against the wall, and I lay down between her legs with my head on her thigh and read this book. And while I was doing that, she was playing with my body. So I took my shirt off, just mostly my upper body and legs, but no genital touch. And it was amazing. Like sometimes, the sensation was so intense, I couldn't read or even speak for a couple of seconds, and so we did that till my voice got tired. Oh, my eyes got tired too because it was a dark room and small print. So yeah, my voice and my eyes got tired after a reasonable amount of time. So then we swapped over, and she read, and I played with her body, and she wanted to practice Wheel of Consent stuff.
Yeah,
Betty Martin's Wheel of Consent.
yeah.
Yeah, so she wanted me to do the taking in both of those scenes. So me touching her was for my pleasure, and her touching me was also for my pleasure, which is I generally like more two-way interaction, but it was still cool to do. So, and that taking for the whole interaction is new to me. I don't normally do that. So, it's interesting to see how I reacted to that, and bringing myself back for I'm doing this for me, not her. You know, it's interesting mindset to keep going to that. But it was just so erotic, like reading erotica and having someone just sensually touch you while it's happening. It was amazing. Like, completely blew my mind. So that's something I want to do in future is to do that with my wife and my partner.
Yes.
So yeah,
Yes.
very much looking forward to that,
Oh, wow. I
and
mean,
possibly other people too.
yes. It's absolutely one of my great fantasies for me to be tasked with reading. I have to read something and I'm supposed to stay focused, and my play partners around me. And I guess I've always imagined this with multiples, but it doesn't have to be multiples. But, try and distract me because I am distractible and I'm really good at focusing on a task.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. That was a bit of the intent
Yeah.
with this, but yeah. Have you ever seen the on YouTube hysterical literature?
No.
So the stuff I've seen has all been vulva owners reading something, not always erotica. Sometimes just random pages or chapters from books. But while they're reading, there's someone holding a wand massager to their vulva.
That sounds distracting.
Yeah, so and I've seen that live too. That's happened at some of the parties I've been to, and some people are really good at maintaining focus,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
some people they're like two or three sentences in and they're gone. So yeah, that's fun. That's fun to watch, and I haven't done that. I haven't done that trying to read while being fully distracted to that intensity.
Yeah.
Other than what I just did which wasn't like it wasn't super distracting. There was
Yeah.
no chance of getting to the point of orgasm.
Yeah. Yeah, but I love sensational. I mean, I think of it as sensational, sensation edging, sensation play. I don't know. I
Yeah,
love that.
yeah, I'd definitely like to experiment more with that, and with more intense sensations as well. Yeah, yeah, it was mind blowing. I loved it.
So cool. Okay, so thank you more of that, please.
Yeah. Yes, definitely. What else am I looking forward to? I'm going to see a friend on Monday. They're doing some sort of two-way touch therapy,
Mm.
which I've never heard of that. Yeah, all the touch therapy I've heard of been one way. So
Yeah.
she's learning the two-way touch therapy. I'm not sure what it's called, and she needs volunteers to practice it. So
Cool.
I'm going to visit her and see where that goes.
Oh my gosh, boy, you're gonna need to come back and update us again. We'll do our next batch in January, so.
Yeah,
Oh, I love
yeah.
that.
So a few adventures on the horizon, and I was with had a male partner last time I spoke to you, but I stopped seeing him
Mm,
during COVID, and it's never really. He's had gone through a lot of stuff, so we haven't really connected since then. He hasn't been going to parties and he had a lot of personal stuff going on. So I'm looking forward to connecting up with him again, but I just don't know when that'll be. But yeah, I've been thinking more about playing with cock owners.
yeah.
I find it much harder to meet convivial, queer cock owners than I do vulva owners. See where that goes.
Yeah.
That's something I'm open to, and we'll just see what happens there. I went to a couple of swingers events,
Mm,
which was unusual. I've never been particularly drawn to those events, but I had a friend got invited to a swingers event. The organisers told her they wanted to create a new type of swinging event that was more inclusive and had a bit of kink in it as well as swinging and that.
okay.
So they invited her along. She asked me to go with her, to sort of as a wingman.
Yeah.
Anyway, that was an unusual experience. I only once before I'd been in that environment where everyone was just explicitly there for pretty much mostly heterosexual vanilla sex.
Okay.
That was very much the vibe, but I enjoyed it actually. It wasn't as uncomfortable for me as I thought it would be. It turned out to be not much different than most swingers events that I've heard about.
Yeah.
And the kink element, they had a kink demonstration, but then the area where they had their St Andrew's cross after that just filled up with people dancing, so there wasn't really any room for
Oh,
kink.
well, okay.
But this guy came. There was a guy wandering around talking to people. He had a bum bag on, wearing it in front with lollies in it, and he was flirting with mostly the women. Do you want to taste my snake? And just being silly like that. And he said that to me. I said, "Oh yeah, I love snakes." And he pulled the snake out. And I said, "Oh, not lolly ones." I've said, and he actually took that quite well. I thought in a hetero space, that could have got a bit of pushback, but
Mhm.
yeah, he took it quite well, and had a bit of a joke about it, and then went on his way flirting with women. So that was nice. And then later at the party, I was sitting out the back getting a bit of fresh air, and a couple sat down and we started chatting, and it turned out they were into kink as well as swinging. So
Mm,
yeah, that was nice. I didn't go any further than that, but
yeah.
yeah, it was much friendlier and less like fuck focused than I thought it might be.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that was interesting. And then I went to another one with my wife. There's a local gay club that a couple of times a month has a swingers pool party night. And we went to that, and that was more what I would have expected from a swingers party. Yeah, a lot of hungry dick energy going on, and
Yeah.
yeah,
Totally.
and very cis het. I wasn't uncomfortable with it, but it wasn't what I'd choose in an erotic adventure.
Yeah.
But
It's a
my
different
wife
flavor.
loved it.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. She loved it. She said, "Oh wow, this is like when I was a teenager or a young woman." All this overt heterosexual energy, and she really loved it. So there you go. So we haven't been back since then because it's been winter since then, and
Right.
she doesn't like going out when it's cold, so
Yeah, summer is coming. Summer is coming.
that's right, yeah. So maybe we'll make it back to that and see what happens then.
Yeah.
So yeah,
What about group fantasies? Because as you were talking about receiving sensations, in my brain, I was just like, yeah. And what if they were surrounded by one top doing things here and one top doing things there and one top doing things here? Like, is that something that would appeal to you? To be like the focus of multiple people?
yeah. When I spoke to you last time, I'd experienced double topping in a
Yeah.
CBC team
Yeah.
scene. I'd definitely like to do that again. I'd also I'd like to be the center of a gangbang. I I love that idea.
Yeah.
So either a gangbang, with like biological cock owners or strap-on cock owners,
Yeah.
that'd
I
all be good.
I always fantasize about a mix, like a mixture, and
Mm.
I always really fantasize about friendly gangbangs because, I like to have a thread of connection, and I get part of the turn on for me is knowing who is touching me. I'm sure I could have a fantasy where this was different, but like the way my brain works is I want to know who is there. Like I'm so curious and I want to feel the energy and know it. Unless someone was telling me to be blindfolded and I wouldn't know, but I would want to find out later. But I always imagine
Yeah,
someone
yeah,
coming up to say hello. Maybe I have to take a cock or a pussy out of my mouth to be introduced before they go back, and so I could just kind of imagine getting it used at multiple ends and maybe someone else is sucking on my toes and maybe someone else is like playing with my hair, pulling it or something, like the whole
yeah,
sensation
yeah.
thing, but having it be like a sweetie pie gangbang, Not that they can't use me
Absolutely.
rough,
Yeah,
but I really want to have that element of presence. Yeah. The little connection
yeah,
pieces.
and friendly, playful energy.
Yeah. Yeah, and I love the
Yeah,
idea of
yeah,
people of, all body parts coming together to come together. Do you know what I mean? And having that kind
yeah,
of just queer love fest. And it doesn't mean everyone there
yeah,
has to be queer. However, I really like queer friendly straight people. Shocker. Like if someone is like, "Oh no, I'm put off by that." I'm like, "Fine, you're not going to play parties with. You're not invited to my play party. No offense. Like I'm not offended, but like you don't ruin my vibe. So,
yeah, absolutely.
yeah.
There's a saying in the pagan world, if you don't want it, you can't have it. The energy has to be open and inviting for everyone
Yeah. Yeah.
that's involved. Yeah,
Yeah, it's
yeah,
that
I love that.
human love energy is how I think of it. Like it's a loving vibe. It's okay if it's not the thing that you're into, like you said earlier. And it's kind of, at kink events, it doesn't mean that I want a clown to fuck me. I That's scary for me. Like that's like a little too because of my childhood trauma, like it was a little too scary. And
Yeah,
I saw a beautiful clown chasing someone and she was so pretty and I was happy for them.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, Hawthorn, thank you so much for coming back and sharing your updates. Before I let you go, I want to ask you, we kind of touched on it, but it's a new question since we originally spoke. What do you think we need to make this world a sexier, more loving place?
Get rid of organised religion and pay everyone a decent living wage, have universal health care and education. Really,
Mm,
we need all that to have people that are secure enough in their life that they can open their hearts and their bodies to pleasure. If you're always in survival mode and fear, you can't open to that, and you'll project that horrible energy onto everyone else.
yeah,
Yeah, we totally need to break that cycle.
I love that. I mean, that is the practical, tangible definitions of creating a world where taking care of each other is the norm, which is the goal that I have,
Yeah,
behind the ripples of love. And I'll add to
yeah,
your fantasy, in that. I mean, universal healthcare hopefully would include trauma healing, like loving spaces for
yeah,
people to go to heal the generations of trauma that are creating the nervous system shutdown. Go look at some polyvagal theory, people. Like we can't rest and digest if we are always in the mode of unsafety. If we are always, along with fight or flight. So I love that answer.
yeah. That's a very good addition too. Yeah, I'm going to
Yeah.
include that now.
Yeah. I think it's implied. And I'm getting, because I'm taking this healer training course right now, I'm like, "Oh, I didn't understand." I didn't realize I had such judgments around the idea of being a healer and healing because all these years people have been like, "Oh, you're a healer." And I'm like, I don't know. Like if you're getting healed, that's your own thing. I'm just showing up as me. And now that I understand, I'm learning more about how the nervous system stores trauma. And I'm learning more about the modalities that help release that somatic therapy I want for everyone, and every different modalities work with everyone, but yeah.
Yeah, well, that's right. Yeah, yeah. I've done somatic healing modalities and breathing healing modalities and talk healing, and yeah, some people need to start with one before they can move on to others.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you've got to meet people where they are.
exactly. Yeah, and we need enough resources and enough community of practitioners with their different specialties to understand what that looks like for each individual, so that we can receive the care and attention that we all want so that we can safely connect. Okay. Very lastly, how are you enjoying spreading ripples of love lately?
Definitely the magic that I mentioned before, going to parties and meeting people and you know play or just conversation, just having fruitful connections with people, treating my lovers and partners and people I come into contact with love and kindness, being on social media and trying to be a model for you know male body cock owner people who don't act like arse-hats. That's where I'm focusing at the moment, and I mean my job does that too. Working with people with disabilities is definitely about caring and loving and making people's lives better.
Absolutely. And thank you for joining me here today to spread ripples of love by sharing your personal stories. I appreciate you so much on so many levels, and I hope that you come back to share more in divine timing.
Thank you so much. I've really enjoyed it.
Lovely humans, that is our show. Remember to follow your hearts and follow your parts and follow me on the internet for links to all the things: podcast guest submissions, photo sessions, creative coaching, or to wander deeper down my internet rabbit holes. Head to sexstoriespodcast.com and lunarabi.com. Support the show and get ad-free episodes and access to the community live streams at patreon.com/howtowoo. To go deeper, see my exclusive self-portraits, masturbation, meditation, sensation, explorations of edging, or to tell me your most personal pleasures, thoughts, and feelings, maybe you even show me, join me on OnlyFans. Links are in the description below. Remember to tell a friend, leave a review, heart, or thumbs up this show wherever you're listening. It helps us grow, and I love watching things grow. Please take care of yourselves, take care of each other, let me know how you're spreading ripples of love, and remember to share sex stories.